After nearly 30 years as a weight loss and health coach, I have a confession to make. I have a love-hate relationship with my industry. Now, don't get me wrong, my feelings are mostly of the love variety, and I wouldn't have stuck it out as long as I had if that weren't the case. And let's be real, there's a lot to love about being a health and fitness coach. But there are also things I see on a day-to-day basis that are just awful. I'm talking about the misinformation, the predatory marketing, the scams, and the endless parade of gurus trying to get rich selling every variety of nonsense imaginable. And as much as I dislike the shady practices I see, I'm actually motivated by it. You see, at the risk of sounding cliche, I got into this industry to make a difference. And there's no greater joy to me than watching someone change their lives through health and fitness. It's an amazing feeling to be able to help someone truly transform their life. And I found it to be incredibly rewarding on so many levels. And having been in this industry for so long, I've learned, unlearned, relearned so many different things. And I continue to be surprised, fascinated, inspired on a regular basis. But I also sometimes find myself deeply frustrated on occasion. You see, the health and fitness industry has been a storm of revolution over the past 30 years. I started when the internet was in its infancy, so most of what I learned was from an actual textbook, journals, and, okay, yes, bodybuilding magazines too. Just picture it. It's the late 90s. I was brand new to the scene working in an upscale downtown Toronto health club. I was full of energy and the place was full of fancy Cybex gym equipment and these new big colorful inflatable balls were rolling around everywhere. I wore a tracksuit with a name tag and carried a clipboard for my personal training clients. There was a non-stop parade of 90s hit music playing in the background, piping through the system. Rob Thomas and Santana's Smooth and Cher's Believe played multiple times a day along with newcomers like Britney Spears and Eminem. Life was good. Hardly anyone had headphones on in the gym and people actually talked to one another. The economy was booming, it was the pre-dot-com bubble age, and pretty much everyone I knew was just living their best life. But I also remember standing in front of the TV in the gym with dozens of others, many with tears streaming down their faces as they watched the Columbine incident unfold in real time. This was also before we were supposed to be afraid of carbs, gluten, and seed oils. In fact, we were still avoiding fat at this stage. But in the early 2000s, we would see a stratospheric change in the industry. The early stages of the internet gave way to forums, which morphed into social media, and that's when things started to get messy. The health and fitness industry found itself mired in a sea of confusion, contradiction, and fringe stuff. And suddenly, extreme nutrition and training methods had a voice, a very loud voice, and an enthusiastic audience eager to follow along. Over the years, I moved through coaching career in various stages of adulthood. I moved into a different city, I got married, I had children, got divorced, and thus worked my way through even more stages of adulthood and personal battles that I wasn't anticipating. And on a few occasions, I even considered leaving the health and fitness industry altogether. I'm definitely glad I stayed though, because over the years, I've learned a lot about not only nutrition, health, and fitness, but also about people, how we operate in this world, how we interact in this complicated set of circumstances that we find ourselves in, and figuring out what motivates us, what holds us back. And I've also learned a lot about myself. And through personal development, I've learned how to better help others. And I've learned what it really means to be a coach. To be a student first, a teacher second, and a servant always. You see, I truly feel that my job is to serve those who I coach and who follow me on social media. Those who read my emails and blogs, those who watch my YouTube videos or stop scrolling to check out one of my social media posts. If I can reach just one person and help initiate meaningful change, that makes me happy. It means the world to me. But at the end of the day, I'll always continue to be a student, someone who strives to learn more and never stops learning. Through this, I'll always strive to be a better teacher and a better coach. So I just wanted to share a handful of the most important things I've learned over the nearly 3 decades of being a coach. The first one being is that people will only truly change when they are ready, which curiously happens when they accept the idea that they may never be fully ready. You see, so many people wait for that magic land of when I have more time, but that magical time almost never comes. I've fallen victim to this many times myself, thinking that I'll do this tomorrow, or I'll start Monday, or let's get this going on January 1st. That, as I've become more of a grizzled veteran in the industry, I see time in a more finite way, and particularly that we only have so much of it and therefore should make the most of it now. The second thing I've learned is that not everybody will love the journey, nor do they have to. As an idyllic 21-year-old entering this industry, I thought that once people got a taste of what working out felt like and eating healthy felt like, they'd get hooked and they would never look back. I eventually discovered that that was just my youthful optimism talking. And it's not that I've become cynical, I've just calibrated my views based on what's realistic. And I like the gym because I grew up playing sports. I ate mostly healthy food because I enjoyed them, and my default response to stress wasn't really to overeat. But over the years, I learned that I'm not representative of a lot of the people that I work with, and that if I wanted to be an effective coach, I needed to see things from other people's perspectives, meet them where they are. I realized that not everyone will love working out and eating healthy, but even those who don't necessarily enjoy it can be every bit as successful in reaching their goals. Because when it comes to improving your health, the payoff we get is always worth the work that we put in. Okay, so moving on, and this is a big one. The third thing I've learned is that the physical aspects of transformation are only a small piece of a very large and complex puzzle of results. Just giving people a workout program, some nutrition suggestions, telling them to go off and do it, almost never works out in the long run. Because truthfully, we need to look at the bigger picture. This includes our habits, the reality of the lives we lead, our mindsets, and the relationships with self, with food, with exercise and lifestyle, our environment, the stressors, the social norms, and our triggers, cues, and the context of our behaviors. Yes, food and exercise are the material components that can change our physical appearance, but it's the underpinnings of habits, mindset, and action orientation that drives sustainable change. Understand that mindset is a powerful force that can catalyze excellent habits. And when I started to learn about mindset practices to help others, it became a full-length mirror into my own shortcomings. I had to come face to face with the fact that I was failing to take my own advice and not living what I was trying to preach. And through this, I learned that I had to work on myself first in order to be a better coach to others. Despite my life situation, the stresses, the current state of my own mental and physical health, I had to come to terms with the fact that I had a crappy mindset. I had insecurities, I had self-doubts, and I had anger. And because I recognized these things in myself and wanted to make some serious changes, I learned the importance of taking small action. See, around this time, I was newly divorced. I was working both my personal training job part-time as well as writing for a blog site and driving as a courier, while also being a part-time stay-at-home dad to 2 children who were under the age of 4 at the time. Trying to make personal training and coaching my full-time job was feeling out of reach, to say the least, and that made me really upset because that was my passion. I questioned whether I had what it took to build a coaching business, but more importantly, to be the best father I could possibly be. I was marred by insecurities and defeatist thinking patterns, and I was letting those voices dictate my actions and inactions. I was stuck, I was tired, and this was hard for me to admit, but I didn't look the part. The lack of time and stress had taken its toll on my body, leaving me feeling and looking far from my best. I knew something had to change, so I began to take those small steps in a better direction. I looked for what was possible rather than defaulting to I can't, or this isn't a good time, or I'll do that when I have more confidence, or when the kids are older, and when I get that next certification. I started to swat away that internal dialogue and began to take ownership of my life. I completed shorter workouts to help get myself back into shape. I began to build resilient mindsets, and I didn't take defeats or setbacks as final, but rather as learning experiences. And through this, I began to truly see how small actions, practiced consistently over time, led to progress. And deep down, that's what many of us desire in our lives, progress, which will ideally lead to whatever our idea of success is. But here's the thing, progress and success come in so many forms. But when our definition of success in health and fitness becomes tied to numbers on a scale or a tape measure or dress size, we reinforce a narrative that we are either passing or failing. But in reality, there are so many ways to measure progress. Not overeating in response to a stressful day is progress. Feeling more energized is progress. Being able to lift your child up easily without pain is progress. Even just showing up is progress. Showing up in the kitchen to cook a healthy meal, showing up in the gym, getting to bed earlier, or saying no a little more often in response to temptations. These are all small things that will add up to large successes. And finally, what might be the most important thing I've learned is that coaching is all about collaboration. The ability to facilitate positive outcomes is reliant on the quality of the relationship between the client and coach. You see, understanding and empathy and authenticity and human relatedness and collaboration are far more important than any technique we can use or any hack available. And self-compassion is a powerful and highly underrated attribute in the pursuit of better health, both physically and mentally. You can't shame yourself into sustainable results. Better habits and meaningful action thrive in an environment of self-forgiveness. This has also helped me learn to be more self-compassionate with myself. Because despite many of my shortcomings, my failures, my missteps, I consider myself incredibly lucky to have had the opportunity to work with so many amazing individuals. I've learned so much from the conversations, the advice, the stories, and the friendships that have evolved over the years through my coaching practice. And if you're still here, thank you. I greatly appreciate you. This world of constant hustle and distraction, the fact that you have invested your precious time to pay a little bit of attention to me means everything. And I hope I can continue to provide amazing value to you for years to come. Until next time.